Hello class, welcome to lesson 3 in module 4 where we're going to be looking at exponents. So here is the top half of the notes. If you'd like to copy those down, go ahead and pause it now. And then for the second half of the notes, you can pause it now. Okay, now that you've got that copied, let's take a look at our question. Hopefully we'll be able to answer this by the end of the lesson. It says, what do exponents look like and what do they mean? So the answer written out looks like this. Exponents are the small numbers written to the top right of large numbers that are written normally, and they represent the amount of times you perform repeated multiplication. I want to say that one more time, that the exponents represent the amount of times you perform repeated multiplication. All right. Now I'm going to come off to the side here just to display what an exponent looks like in case we've forgotten at some point. So let's look here. We have our big number, our normally written number, written normally on a line. So this is the normal number. And then the 3 in this situation would be our exponent because it is the smaller number written to the top right of the big number. Now a little bit of vocabulary that you'll certainly be seeing later on in these notes, and then definitely later on as the module goes on, that obviously this, the number up top, the little one to the top left, is the exponent. You probably knew that, but what you may not have known is that this big number down here is called the base. You could think of that because it's sitting on this bottom line and it's big and it's like a base. Okay, so back to the notes. Here in this next part of the notes, we are going to explain what we mean by repeated multiplication. So the task we need to perform is to multiply your base, we learn what that is, multiply that base, or the normal number, times itself, the amount of times your exponent indicates. So what you're doing is you're going to take your base and multiply it times itself, however many times the exponent tells you to. Okay? So in our example, we have 4 to the third power. 4 with an exponent of 3. You might also hear this written as 4 cubed. But anyway, 4 to the third power means 4 times 4 times 4, or 4 times itself and then times itself again. Okay, because we take our base of 4, our base, and we multiply it by itself, the amount of times the exponent says so, which is 3 times. So 4 times 4 times 4, and we see that we are multiplying 4 times itself 3 times. Okay, and then down here we have the whole problem evaluated out. So 4 cubed, or 4 to the third power, is 64, because 4 times 4 is 16, and then 16 times 4 is 64. Okay, so that's how we would evaluate or solve an exponent problem. But further below, we are going to look at how to different ways to write an exponent type of problem. So anyway, this notation chart is going to show you the 3 different ways that you can write or notate. Notation just means how to write something, an exponent problem. So you might also see this as being called different forms. So notation and forms are kind of the same. So the first column here we see exponential form or exponential notation, then expanded notation, then standard notation. Okay, so 4 to the third power written with an exponent is exponential notation, and then having it written out in repeated multiplication is the expanded notation, and that makes sense because you're expanding it. It's a lot more writing like that. And then the standard notation is just the final answer after you complete the repeated multiplication problem. So standard form is just 64, the answer to the problem. So we see here that the keys to today's lesson are that exponents mean repeated multiplication and that there are 3 different forms in which to write it. We'll come back up here. Hopefully we can answer this question. What do exponents look like and what do they mean? Thank you very much. Goodbye.